friends, it's Caitlin, and welcome back to the Floating Rock podcast. I hope you're having the most incredible day ever. Nice to see you again. I currently, if you're very, very up to date, haven't uploaded last week's YouTube video. It will come out at the same time as this probably. But the reason why that all happened was I was working on a commercial this past week and a half-ish, if you will. Very fun, very exciting, very film girl Caitlin, so we love that for her. However, something I did find out about film, the industry, I guess, if you will, is the hours are quite intense. Rah! So that was definitely a fun learning lesson. But anyway, it was tons and tons of fun. I loved meeting all those people. The more people I meet, I'm just like, damn, the film community here, and probably in general, but especially on an island like Hawaii, it is very, very small. And I can't wait to keep meeting more people. And then at some point, I feel like I'm not gonna close the circle and be like, wow, I've met everyone, but I'm just I feel like I just keep bouncing to each person. I'm like, wait, I feel like I'm gonna meet everyone. I'm super, super excited in a good way. And I guess that's a little bit on topic today in a way, but yeah, 'twas very good. But anyway, so today's episode is gonna be a little bit more short and sweet. I feel like I've been throwing 40-minuters at you guys recently, and I've, some people enjoy a quick 15-minute chat. So I'm like, today it's for y'all. And I'm like, okay, this is perfect for when you are doing a short drive to the grocery store, to your friend's house, or you're gonna wash your dishes, and I feel like that never takes that long usually. Anyway, not me telling you why you should listen to it when you're already listening to it. Hello. Anyhoozle. So basically, last night, bestie girl Malia and I, we were having a conversation, we were talking, and she told me the most life-changing thing, and I need to share it with you guys. Respectfully, because this feels after having this conversation, and of course we broke it down, we hashed whatever, I was I feel like I'm gatekeeping if I keep this information to myself. And granted, maybe you've thought about this before, and maybe you've been yeah, Caitlin, but genuinely, normally, you guys know I normally say that to be oh, maybe you know this. This has never crossed my mind. This is fully new information. So part of me is convinced it's going to be fully new information for you as well. And I'm super excited because legitimately, not to say changed my life, kind of changed my life. Hate to say it. Hate to be that bitch with the clickbait. Basically, Malia was at a yoga class the other day. And, they talked during their yoga class. And the teacher guy brought up this point about popularity. And, of course, she was like, girl, I'm in, what? that just seems too superficial to be talking about during a fucking vinyasa, right? But he keeps going. And I guess he read this study. So this is this is information 3 times removed, from Malia, who got it from the teacher, who got it from a study. So take everything here with a grain of salt. But this is just a conversation, we know. Anyway, so he starts talking about popularity and the study he read, and he starts kind of explaining popularity isn't about everybody liking you. It's about you liking everybody. And I was oh my God. And now, I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if I said that and you guys were no, false. I know popular people who blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? I feel like popular has such a negative connotation in this day and age, or just, I almost feel like it always has. You hear popular kid at school, immediately, I'm gonna raise my eyebrow, be ooh, so what's wrong with them? Why are they mean? In my head, I think they're mean, but I'm no, they're just popular, right? I feel like a lot of us have that kind of subconscious belief when it comes to popularity, that if you are popular, it's a bad thing, it's mean, it's superficial, blah, blah, blah. And as we further discussed, we were wait, this is so interesting, because then we started to sort of break down some of the more popular people in our lives or that we know of. And we're wait, this is actually reigning true. And we're this mind-blowing. And another way I wanted to put it, I guess, is popularity is not a game of receiving. It's actually a game of giving. And I guess I'll get into that. So number one, I feel I have to start with this is not true in every situation. I'm sure that you know people who are popular who are just assholes and hate everybody, blah, 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 right? But I guess to bring this into a real world example, I feel this weekend on set, I was being very happy and blah, blah. I mean, being myself, obviously, but in return, I was getting a lot of love back. And I was wait, fun, interesting, love it. I was telling Malia, I was wait, this is literally I was being floating rock like the live theater version, because, it's just embodying like the vibes of the pod in person in all my interactions. But what was so interesting about us talking about this whole thing and just my experience of the weekend, I was like, wait, I can totally see how this is a thing, because I was like, because I feel like I was giving out so much love, and not in like a manipulating people, just being myself, because I was giving out so much love, I was like receiving so much more back. And like, because I was asking people questions about themselves and this and that, like it just, you get more in a way, right? And like, basically when we thought about these people that we know of who like are quote unquote popular, even the ones who were like, who were a little questioning on like, is it the good popular or the bad popular? We really did break it down and we're like, hold on. Majority of these people who we know that we consider popular, they really do actually have the longest list of people that they like. Oh, which brings me to the study. Basically what the study found was it asked a ton of people. Basically it found out at a high school who was the most popular kid or kidsa. And it asked everybody to like describe the traits of them. And what they narrowed it down to was they had, the longest list of people that they liked. And I was like, oh my God. And even I raise you, if you really do think like, oh, some of these popular people are so exclusive, think about how big the popular groups can be at times, like even if you think about influencers, like I feel like a lot of influencers and people who are like socially almost like more worldly popular, they also have a very long list of people that they like, other influencers, this and that, like I feel like it's very rare that someone is extremely popular. And I feel like this might be more interpersonal, because I'm like, how many people does Justin Bieber like? I don't quite know, but you know what I mean? I'm gonna take fame out of this. Fame isn't a part of this conversation. And basically, we thought about these people and we're like, wait, that's so interesting, because even if it's not outward like, oh my God, love you so much, like, maybe they're not the most like kind, warm, whatever, but a lot of the time the most popular people throw their attention to a lot of people, like they give their attention. Like I feel like I know people who give attention to like maybe like the more odd characters or whatever, who I would consider popular. And I would never think that like them giving these characters, if you will, attention would make them popular. But like I see how it does, because the more people that you like, those people will probably like you back. Therefore, popularity happens. I'm like, that is so interesting. And what I think is one of the most interesting things about this is the reverse. So we're talking all about this, right? And then I think, hold on. What I think proves this to be even more true is that the least popular people I know, not in a bad way, have the shortest list of people that they like. I was like, oh, whoa, because that really puts it into perspective, right? Yeah, the least popular people and think about them and how long is the list of people that they truly like. I think that like for some reason, those numbers really, really line up. And maybe you resonate with one end more than the other, this or that, or maybe you're somewhere in the middle, like, or maybe you've gone on a journey from one to the other end. But isn't that fucking interesting? Like, I feel like some of like the more maybe meek, or just like, I guess if we're talking about the word popular, least popular people that I know, once again, not a bad thing, I'm like, I feel like they were never throwing out a lot of interest in others, a lot of like outward liking towards others. And like these people can still be like really nice and sweet, maybe like introverted or something. But like I think also sometimes that's why, the more extroverted people are going to be the most popular. It's because by being extroverted, they're able to give their attention and their liking, if you will, towards more people. And I think too, kind of similar to like, I think about Mean Girls, right? A great pop culture example. Like the whole scene where she goes like, oh my God, cute skirt. The bitch walks away and she's like, ugh, that's the ugliest fucking skirt I've ever seen. Notice how she's throwing out like attention and compliments to everyone. Therefore, they're liking her back. I'm like, popularity is a science, and I'm mind blown. So anyway, I just was like, this changed, not to say my entire life perspective, but as a person who loves self-growth and who loves just like everything sort of revolving around this, and who honestly is like working towards a career or a thing not based off of popularity, but I don't have a podcast just for 10 people, like I would love for more people to watch my podcast, or I would love for more people to read my writing. I would love to maybe be a performer again and to, like there are a lot of people who I believe are probably in the same boat as me where, popularity, quote unquote, is a part of what you want to pursue in your life, or even it might just be your community building and the village you want to create around yourself, or just your social life, like it could be in any facet of your life where popularity might actually be kind of a goal of yours, but like no one ever wants to admit that, because popularity has such an ugly connotation. Like we think of Regina George, but it's like, I know plenty of popular people who are not mean in the slightest. And I think what's interesting too, I raise you, is what I think adult popularity is when you're not in a school anymore. Because during me and Malia's conversation, she was like, yeah, I've had people tell me that like, oh, everyone likes you or everyone knows you, stuff like that, where she was like really caught off guard. Like, what? Because, she wasn't self-aware that, oh, this many people perceived and liked her, right? And I feel like popularity in the adult world is very different because people aren't necessarily coming to a group conclusion that one person's popular, and it's more that everyone has their own opinions of who's popular, and a lot of time maybe they're in line with each other. But I thought that was super interesting too, and I think that's like what maybe will help break our stereotype in our head of like the bad popular. Like I think when you're all in a confined space like a school, everyone can come to the common consensus that this one person is popular, and then, this, that, the other thing. But I just think it's so interesting that popularity too just has a fully different dimension when you're out of school, and everyone can come up with their own definition of popular in their own head. And I think that's also what leads to people being more unknowing that they're popular. Like I wonder if the people in my life, especially from like my school time, if they were self-aware that they were popular, or God forbid, y'all, if it was me. I don't think so. I really don't think so. But who knows? Literally, who knows? What if I'm posting this and the people I know are like, well, this is meta, popular Caitlin talking about popularity. That would blow my mind, actually. But, like, I want to know if these people who we all think are popular, do they perceive it themselves? Do they know it themselves? Or is it just they're living their life throwing out all of this attention and liking towards people, and they don't question the amount that they receive back because it just equalizes? And I think that if someone who is more not giving all that out suddenly was getting all of this, they would know that they're popular because it is like, it's not equal. It would shock them because, not to say they haven't earned it, but they haven't given it out to take it back, Oh my God, like this is just so fun. This is so interesting. But anyway, I guess all in all, because I told you guys I'd keep this short and sweet, I love this perspective shift. And I think I've also been seeing a lot of content recently about, is Gen Z too self-care? Is Gen Z too, do we have too many boundaries where we've actually stopped giving out ourselves and, kind of like pushing through sometimes for like relationships specifically? And in my head, it kind of aligns with this whole popularity thing, and just like, I love this. Oh, basically the whole Gen Z thing was basically like one of like the main calling questions is, everybody wants a village, but is everyone willing to be a villager? And I'm like, that's the fucking tea. That's the tea. And obviously all of us have our different levels of that, or we're on a different journey for that. But I find that to be so interesting. And in a way, as a quote unquote popular person, the bigger your tribe, the bigger your village. And the more you help others, the more they'll help you. The more you support other people, the more they'll support you. Even if you think about algorithms, like this could even be like, dare I say, scientific. Like if you guys have ever been on the side of TikTok that talks about how to grow on TikTok, a lot of the time it means that you have to go and comment on other people's posts, follow them, act like a freaking real user, And that also just aligns with this, that by giving out your likes and your watch time and your comments and your shares, you will receive your views and your comments and your likes and your shares and your followers and all that stuff. I'm like, whoa, isn't that damn crazy? But I guess what I'm taking away from this, and why I brought up my career, potentially your social life or your community and this and that, is just like, I feel like we need to like destigmatize what being popular means. Allow ourselves, if that's something you want to, you don't need to be popular, and you don't need to like want that, because not everyone wants that. And you can hear me be like, oh, and you have to like a lot of people. If you're like, bitch, I don't like a lot of people, all the power to you, because you don't need to. Like you aren't required to like anybody, So this is for if you resonate with the other side of that, I guess. And maybe if you do resonate with like the like fuck most bitches, this could just potentially be a moment to open the mind to being like, wow, like maybe these people who I didn't like because off the cuff I knew they were popular, like maybe there's another way to look at them. But anyway, yeah, for those who maybe have been seeking some popularity and stuff, number one, try to reframe that. Popularity is not a bad thing, you know, especially when you frame it as the more you give, the more you get, you know? Like, I feel like that's just so awesome. And a lot of the times too, like, the more you do that, hopefully you do it for the right reasons and you already want to give out that love and maybe you were blocking it in the first place. But this completely changed my perspective, and I love the idea too that something that I was already subconsciously doing could like lead to something like that, and it just motivates me even more that like if I think something good about somebody, like it makes me like be like, no, like comment it, they're gonna appreciate it, you know, like, or tell it to them, or go physically go support that person, go to their concert, go to their event, go to their, you know what I mean? Or in the film industry too, put that person on your project, recommend that person to the other project. Like, I feel like as we lift each other up, like we're all just gonna climb up this mountain together, and if we help each other out, like we all just get to the top faster, and I fucking love that. So on that note, guys, thanks for listening. Hopefully I got a point across, but this was like just the most interesting thing to me, and I hope it's really interesting to you, and I hope that it just opens your mind to look at popularity differently and to just give more kindness and give more interest in the people around you, because you never know when it will come right back to you. So yeah, thanks for listening, friends. Follow the pod at floating.rock.podcast on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube technically. Rate the pod 5 stars if you haven't already, or if you're on YouTube, subscribe. Just like, I don't know, while we're on the topic of popularity, throw some shit my way and maybe I'll throw it your way too. Or maybe Carmen will do it. I don't know. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go now. Bye bye.